Welcome to Stormy Willow, where we explore the paranormal, celebrate the odd, and never trust the living. I'm your host, Sarah, Emotion Overload.
And I'm your host, Adele, douche recluse.
And we are basically two podcasters here. You know, ghosts may haunt the living, but Adele and I haunt your eardrums.
That's right.
So
And Bojangles haunts your taste buds.
Doesn't it, though? I tell you. Well, Happy New Year, Brood. Happy New Year, Adele. We're here. We've made it to 2025.
Where we go from here, I don't know, but we're here.
We're here. Well, let me tell you, sadly enough, about two people that didn't get to see 2025 in today's booger news.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Is this going to be funny? Usually these are kind of funny.
No, this one's not funny, guys. This is a sad one.
Okay.
So I'm gonna call this one Gone Squatchin', a legendary hunt with a tragic end. All right. So in a story that's equal parts tragic and baffling, two Bigfoot hunters lost their lives just a few weeks ago in Washington's rugged wilderness while chasing the ultimate campfire story, Sasquatch. Armed with passion, a dream, and perhaps a touch too much confidence, their journey took a heartbreaking turn, reminding us all that legends, while thrilling, come with real-world risk. Now, local authorities pieced together the duo's ill-fated adventure, one that led them deep into the unforgiving forest, far from any marked trails and safety. So when bad weather came in, it basically made for very rough terrain, and it took its toll. The Sasquatch hunters found themselves in a situation that no cryptid enthusiast ever plans for. It wasn't Bigfoot that got them, but the raw power of Mother Nature, a force far more real than relentless than any mythical creature. So basically, these guys are like, "This is what we're going to do for Christmas. Like, we're going to go find Sasquatch."
Sounds like a great plan to me.
I mean, yeah. But let's just pause here just to say that these weren't reckless thrill seekers. They were dreamers, right? Like, they chase something bigger than themselves, something that ignites the imagination for so many, especially Adele and I. Like, we would do this, like, 100%.
Yeah.
So it was like, before, we say that their story may sound like, wow, you're so stupid to do that or whatever. I mean, there is a bittersweet beauty, right? In their dedication. Like, how many of us would dare to follow our passions that far?
So, like, what happened? They get, like, snowed in?
Yeah, so this tragedy, basically, I think that it just, they weren't prepared for, like, basically not being on, like, a trail and being that far in the wilderness. And so they're thinking what happened was probably hypothermia. It was like, you're in Washington, it's freezing cold. And so when they didn't arrive home, their families obviously called and they found them. Not eaten by Sasquatch, but just, I think, the elements.
Fell asleep and didn't wake up.
Yeah, it was just too cold. So we just want to remind you here to stay safe, and remember, even Bigfoot probably would tell you to stick to the trails.
Yeah, I mean, we love a ghost story, but don't become one, please.
Yeah, like, don't make. I just felt like it was so sad because I love their adventurous spirit. Like, let's do this. Like, it's right before the holidays. They were probably like, we know that, let's go find them. And it just didn't turn out like anyone had imagined. So,
wow.
no.
Yeah, I mean, that just goes to show, like, I mean, when things turn south, they turn really south in those types of situations.
I think the one thing, especially the story that you covered just a few weeks ago, Mother Nature's the real beast out there, guys. Like, don't fuck with Mother Nature. Like, just don't do it.
And as much as I hate the sunshine and beach, I would rather be stuck on an island any day than a tundra.
Oh yeah, and to freeze to death, like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness. So yeah, I mean,
guys, like, you're going for Bigfoot, not Yeti. Let it thaw out.
Yeah, like, Bigfoot will still be there in the spring and summer.
Probably
Like,
hibernating right now anyway.
Probably hibernating. I mean, absolutely. So I'm sorry to bum you out in 2025 already, but I mean, on one hand, they're out there doing what they love to do. On the other hand, I really feel bad for their families. So
Well, we don't know. Maybe they actually caught a glimpse before they passed.
maybe they did.
Yes.
Maybe it really wasn't hypothermia. Maybe they literally died of sheer excitement.
Let's hope that's how it was.
Let's hope that's how it was, and it wasn't.
Or
Yeah.
they had
They
like
literally
delusional, like
yeah, yeah. I hope that they at least saw something like that.
at least had a wonderful trip thinking they discovered the big guy.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Oh, so yeah, just so
So do
sad.
bundle up. It's awfully cold outside. That's what we're saying.
Do bundle up. It is awfully cold outside. And our dad is in Florida, and it's even cold in Florida. So you
Yeah, it
know,
sounds like that polar vortex is going to be no
it's
joke.
it's no joke. So I mean, they're even saying we may get some snow in South Carolina. We'll see. I hope not, because we don't really get snow in South Carolina. We get ice, and it's just a disaster. Like it gets on the power lines
It's the
and
worst.
then they break, and it's not fun. We don't
It's
get
like
the
a bunch of
fluffy.
gremlins take over the whole town
It is
when it
like the
snows in the
gremlins take
south.
over the town. It's chaos. It's not like, yay, we get to go play in fluffy snow. No, it's not like
It's a
that
bunch
at
of
all.
gremlins at the bar that you're trying to serve.
It's just it's a straight up gremlin situation. Nobody wants to deal with it at all. Well, speaking of situations you may or may not want to deal with, are you ready for your astrology forecast for the week of January 6th through the 12th? And if you've been fortunate enough to have some time off, I guess you're going back to work tomorrow. We have a full 40-hour week for most of us. So you talk about the Sunday shitties. Yeah, I think
The,
everybody's feeling it.
the first Sunday shitties of the year, guys.
It's the first Sunday shitties of the year, unless you're like me that's had to work the whole holidays. It's like, it's just another week for me. Uh, but I'm gonna give you just a general vibe, okay?
Oh Lord, yeah. Let's
And
just
I
do a
think
vibe check.
let's
Just a
do a
vibe
quick
check.
vibe check. Let's just remember here to slow down and tune in, okay? So this week's gonna start off in a reflective mood, okay? So we still have some lingering energy from our friend Mercury retrograde, which is always such a good time. It's wrapping up on January the 7th, so that's good. But we still may have some communication mishaps. We might have some delays. You might have already felt like your patience has been tested with just, holidays, politics, life, what have you. But it's all going to go away soon. So this is just going to maybe be a chance on Monday and the beginning of the week to just kind of review what has kind of thrown you off course and we're just kind of slowly come on back on track, okay? So Venus is going to be cozying up to Capricorn, reminding us that slow and steady, friends, it wins the race, whether it's in relationships, finances, or maybe some of those New Year's resolutions that you've set for yourself. So let's do a quick forecast rundown. Monday, January 6th, we have cloudy skies with retrograde gust. So this week's going to start off nice and sluggish with Mercury still in retrograde. Remember, communication mishaps, and maybe if you're traveling, go ahead and expect some delays. So keep an umbrella of patience handy. Best to review plans rather than act on them. But don't worry, storms will clear soon.
You know how they kept making Pluto a planet and then not a planet and then a dwarf planet? Can we just kick Mercury out?
Can we really? But Mercury, you
Mercury
know
fucks
what?
up everything and I'm tired of it.
We voted,
You're
and
out. You're out.
you and the Electoral College are gone. Done.
Done. Bye.
Okay.
Hasta la
And
vista.
we're also not gonna do daylight savings either. So
Right? I thought the stars were telling us to purge stuff that doesn't serve us. So you're out, Mercury. You're out.
I agree. I think that's great. I'm with you. Tuesday, January 7th, we have partial clearing. Mercury is gonna station direct. Hallelujah. But before you pop the champagne, remember there's still some retrograde shadows lingering because that's just so Mercury. It just won't go away. It's like just stop lingering.
Like a
Bye.
match.
Yes.
It's like that zit.
So
It won't pop.
Think of it like that annoying drizzle after a storm. You know, tread lightly and just kind of let things settle on Tuesday, all right? But then midweek, Wednesday, January 8th, we could expect sunny and productive skies when we've got Venus and Capricorn. We're going to basically have a nice steady energy that we like to feel. It's going to be a great day to make some headway on your goals, to nurture your relationships. It's a kind of get stuff done sort of vibe. It's going to be just enough warmth to keep the vibes pleasant. So you might want your metaphorical sunglasses ready because you're going to be shining, baby.
Oh, okay. Let's see about that.
All right. Thursday, January 9th, we've got breezy conditions with ambitious winds. So we've still got that Capricorn vibe coming in, and it's going to really push you to climb that metaphorical mountain. So whether it's work, personal growth, steady winds of determination are going to be at your back. So those are the kind of winds we like. We like that determination wind pushing us forward. But watch out for some icy patches when it comes to your communication because not everyone's going to be catching the same tailwind. So check yourself. And then finally, our favorite day, Friday, January the 10th, we have clear skies for love and finances. Holla! So we've got Venus vibes. That's right. So it's going to dominate the day, making it great for relationship talks, financial planning, or maybe you want to treat yourself to something that lasts. Think of it as a perfect picnic weather, stable, grounded, and so chill. And then for the weekend, we're going into a mild weekend with some reflective fog. We've got an Aquarian and Piscean energy creating a dreamy haze. I like a dreamy haze. So it's going to be a great weekend to kind of just kind of introspection, journaling, or maybe you just need to take a breather, just chill out. You can expect some just, nice, easy energy. It's going to be a great day for long walks and big thoughts. And then finally, Sunday, January 12th, we've got some storms coming in with a chance of revelation. The end of the week might bring some emotional turbulence as the cosmos are stirring things up. So if you've been avoiding a tough conversation or decision, Sunday might be the day it breaks wide open. So keep your umbrella of empathy nearby because you are going to need it, brood. Back to you, Adele.
I don't think it sounds like a great week.
I feel like it's a mixed bag, man. Like, I feel like we just are going to be all over the place. We've got determination, communication fails, ambition, fog. I mean, maybe just bring your sunglasses, umbrella, everything, because I just feel like it's going to throw it all to us this week.
Yeah, I guess pack a bag.
Pack a bag and be ready. Yes, I agree. I agree.
Yikes. Okay, well,
Mhm, mhm.
we'll get through it because there's no other choice.
There's
You
really
just
no
have to
other
keep going
choice.
until you die.
So that's right. So, yeah, there you go.
All right, well, on that note, I'll take us into our headline.
Oh yeah, I can't
So,
wait.
last week I spun Ghost on
Yeah, you did.
Wheel, and I couldn't think of a more appropriate ghost with their birthday coming up this week. Their birthday will be the day after this airs, January 8th, 90th birthday. So, just to describe this person, he was a man of mesmerizing charisma and timeless style, with a voice that could move mountains and a presence that dominated the stage. Yet beyond the dazzling fame and iconic swagger, there was another side that few people knew, a side defined by profound spiritual depth and a fascination with the paranormal. I give to you the King, Elvis Presley. And
Let
I'm calling this episode Hunka Hunka Haunted.
and let me just tell you, Rude, if you don't know, Adele is a huge Elvis fan. Like huge. So there's not a better person to cover this than you, Adele. And I mean, I feel like I know a lot about Elvis because of you, but I have no idea about what you're about to tell me.
And I'm always hesitant to even say I'm a fan because I feel like true Elvis fans are like super fans, almost like horror fans. So don't test me or ask me stupid shit. Like, I just like the guy, I thought his style was awesome, and I like his music.
But I'm gonna tell you something Adele said one time, and it's stuck with me, Adele, all these years.
Oh Lord.
Adele is not a big crier, okay? She's just not. And I remember when Adele said, I've cried 2 times in my life, when Paw died and the Elvis movie.
Yeah. That's tear to my eye.
Which is amazing, by the way. If you haven't watched it, it is really good.
Austin Butler did a great job.
Yes, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, Elvis, God, he's just amazing. But anyway,
he would have been 90, guys. 90.
This would be his 90th birthday, and yeah, they are having a huge celebration at Graceland. They always celebrate his birthday every year, the whole week. So I don't know, if you're in the area, hit up his 90th birthday. It's going to be amazing. They're going to have dance parties. They're going to have, like, panels where you can, like, just talk about Elvis. They're going to do tours of Graceland. Like, it's going to be incredible.
Is there going to be a psychic there?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know about that. I wish. But yeah,
we're available. We could, be out there as soon as possible.
Absolutely.
And I can clear the books.
Yeah, but if you do attend, you might see Elvis's ghost at Graceland.
What? No.
We will get into all of this, okay? So let me think my sources before we get into the paranormal side of Elvis that you might not know. So first, thank you to thethings.com, unsettlingthings.com, hollywoodreporter.com, and theguardian.com, as well as ChatGPT for helping me put it all together. So yes, this is the Hunka haunted Elvis episode.
I love it.
And in case you didn't know a little bit about Elvis, let me tell you, Elvis Aaron Presley was born on January 8th, 1935. This will be his 90th birthday, this coming Wednesday. Obviously, he's the king of rock and roll. Did you know that the name Elvis means the force of God in Hebrew?
I can't say I knew that.
That's a great name for that guy. He sold over 600 million records worldwide, making him one of the best-selling solo artists of all time.
Yeah, for real.
He starred in 33 feature films just over 13 years. Like, that's insane to me. His 1973 Aloha from Hawaii concert, which was the first globally televised concert by a solo performer, reached 1.5 billion with a B viewers.
And you think,
that's just unreal.
If we had, like, TikTok and all the things that we have now, like, that was back when their technology was nothing. Like,
yeah.
Imagine what it would be like now.
Like, it's crazy. And Graceland, his Memphis mansion, is the second most visited house in the United States after the White House. Isn't that crazy? It draws 600,000 visitors a year.
Heck yeah, I want to go. It's on my bucket list.
And one other fun fact, Elvis's iconic jet black hair was not natural. He was a dirty blonde and dyed his hair black.
Nuh-uh.
Because he really liked Tony Curtis's hair and thought it was very striking. He liked the jet black look, and I have to say, it was striking. It looked good.
I can't really imagine Elvis as a dirty blonde.
His portrait in Graceland by the staircase is a dirty blonde. If you go to Graceland, you can see it. It's still pretty dark, but it's not jet black. Like,
the iconic.
He still looks great. He's freaking Elvis. But yeah, it is kind of odd seeing him in this natural blonde. But just a little bit about his childhood too. I just think this helps with his backstory, and I don't know. I just love him because he was born from nothing, and I think that comes throughout his entire life and his music and the way he carried himself personally.
Yeah.
But just a bit about his childhood. So before rising to global fame, Elvis was a boy from Tupelo, Mississippi. He was born into very, very humble beginnings, and he had a life touched by the supernatural since his birth. We'll get into that. Just a little bit about his parents. Vernon and Gladys, they came from very, very poor backgrounds too.
Gladys, I love it.
Yeah, they were both very, very poor, both from Mississippi. And despite a 4-year age gap with Gladys being 4 years senior to Vernon.
Oh, yeah, she Gladys.
Yeah, so despite that age difference and her being more senior, they fell in love quickly and married in 1933. Vernon was a quiet and hardworking man. He took on various jobs while Gladys, known for her warmth and devotion, worked tirelessly to support the family. And though financial struggles were constant, their strong emotional bond carried them through the tough times. So they really were a great family. Even though
Elvis was very close to his mom.
Very close. So on January 8th, 1935, Gladys Presley gave birth to twin boys, Elvis Aaron and Jesse Garin. Tragically, Jesse was stillborn, though. He was born 35 minutes before Elvis. And
oh, wow.
Yeah, so it left Elvis as their only child, and the loss deeply affected Gladys, which made her super protective of Elvis. She was very, very protective of him.
That makes sense.
And this, just to show how freaking poor they were, Jesse was buried in a shoebox at Priceville Memorial Gardens in Tupelo alongside of his Aunt Susan and Uncle Noah. Like, they couldn't even afford a freaking casket. This is how poor they were. So I just want to say that. Like, they were dirt poor. The Presleys lived in extreme poverty during Elvis's early years, often moving and residing in modest 2-room shotgun houses. Vernon even built one with his neighbors. Like, it was a very bare bones shack that they lived in.
Yeah.
And despite their hardships, like I said, the family was still very close knit. With Gladys, she had such deep devotion to her family and especially Elvis. And Vernon was more of like the quiet kind of supportive, where Gladys was more in your face about it, I guess.
Yeah.
And Elvis shared an exceptional bond with his mother. So she affectionately called him Baby and Sonny Boy. And his death in 1958 left a lasting void in his life. The family's curiosity about spirituality and metaphysical topics profoundly influenced Elvis, fueling his lifelong quest to understand life's mysteries and the afterlife. Gospel music, central to his Pentecostal upbringing, like us, became his spiritual anchor, and he viewed his voice as actually a divine gift, and meditating daily to channel the inspiration into his music. Like, he really he really thought his voice was a gift from God and wanted to use it as like a spiritual thing. And yeah, the way he belts out songs, like, he sings from his soul.
Yeah,
it's
he
crazy.
does.
But Elvis's connection to the supernatural was rooted in the loss of his twin brother. So Jesse's loss really profoundly stuck with Elvis his whole life. I think it might even be like that twin kind of thing. Like, they have such a close, unique bond anyway. And I think maybe the void of not having his twin maybe affected him more than we would realize.
Yeah, no kidding.
But Elvis often claimed he would feel Jesse's presence. Even hearing the disembodied voice he believed was his twin. Dr. Peter Whitmer described Jesse as the restless spirit that haunted Elvis's relationships and became a driving force in his life. So that might be an interesting part a lot of people don't know. I don't know if even everybody knows he was a twin. But now let's get into the paranormal.
Let's do it.
So we know how great Elvis is, but let's get into the side you might not know about him. So Elvis's fascination with the paranormal extended far beyond curiosity. I mean, it was a lifelong passion. He amassed a library of over 350 books on spirituality, the occult, UFOs, and those kinds of topics. And he dove deeply into topics like reincarnation, projection, and spiritualism. This thirst for understanding wasn't just theoretical, it laid the foundation for the profound and otherworldly experiences he would encounter throughout his life.
Oh.
So, I love this. Elvis's spiritual advisor and hairstylist, Larry Geller, they were very close, and he was kind of his spiritual guru, and obviously they would talk a lot like you do with your hairdresser.
While he's doing his hair, like they're channeling spirits or something. This is amazing.
They would also like meditate together and hang out outside of doing the hair, but I love that he's also the hairstylist because his hair looked fantastic. So
he's like my Aaron that does my hair. I feel like that's my spiritual advisor as well.
So Larry played a pivotal role in his exploration of the paranormal and metaphysical, and their long reflective conversations often delved into topics such as UFOs, reincarnation, spirituality, and it further fueled Elvis's fascination with the unexplained. On the night of his birth, there were blue lights over his house spotted. So Larry
What?
Geller shared an extraordinary story from Vernon Presley, his father. Um,
Okay. And let's think, like Vernon's a quiet type, so he doesn't seem like one that would really just make up stuff.
yeah, and there's witnesses to this too. So on the night Elvis was born, Vernon stepped outside of their Tupelo home for a cigarette at 2 a.m. and witnessed a mysterious blue light hovering in the sky. This strange phenomenon, also seen by their family doctor, left Vernon convinced that something extraordinary had happened. Some interpret this as a UFO sighting, while others see it as maybe like a divine sign of Elvis's birth.
It was like blue suede shoes.
um, so I don't know. There's that. I think it's odd that Vernon and the doctor saw it.
So
I looked.
weird.
I couldn't find any other reports around the Tupelo area of seeing lights that night. So I don't know. It's curious. Potentially right off the bat, he is attributed to the paranormal.
Wow.
And Elvis's intrigue in UFOs wasn't limited to the story of his birth. Throughout his life, he claimed to witness unexplained lights in the sky. According to Geller, he and Elvis spotted UFOs on multiple occasions, including bright lights hovering over the desert and near Graceland. These encounters deeply resonated with Elvis, who saw them as significant and perhaps connected to otherworldly beings. As his cousin Billy Smith recalled, quote, he loved when he could talk about it and somebody else would show interest in it. So he really liked talking about the paranormal. Elvis's search for understanding wasn't confined to UFOs, as he told Christian Today, all I want is to know the truth, to know and experience God. I'm a searcher. That's what I'm all about. So, yeah, very curious in the paranormal. He also had visions, like really detailed and intense visions as well. So Elvis also experienced this very vivid vision that reinforced his belief in the supernatural at the age of 8. He told Geller about a vision of himself as a man in a white suit singing before a massive audience.
Whoa.
And this premonition left a profound impact, shaping his sense of destiny. So, I mean, that really touched him. And, like, at the age of 8, like,
That's just a kid, man.
it's like he saw himself. It's crazy. And then in the mid-1960s, Elvis had a dream in which he saw the face of Jesus Christ in the clouds while standing in the Arizona desert. Deeply moved, he reportedly said, I know now I've got to do something real with my life. I want out. I want to become a monk and join a monastery.
Whoa!
So he was very, obviously he did not do that. But yeah, I mean, he was very deeply spiritual.
Yeah.
And shortly before his death in 1977, Elvis wrote his will and recounted a dream in which the face of God appeared as a bright white light so intense he had to shield his eyes. So he's had weird paranormal activity like throughout his life, especially with UFOs. He also loved to do just kind of have like spiritual quote unquote sessions at Graceland, like not like Ouija boards or anything. He just loved to talk to paranormal and invite groups of his close friends over to just talk about this stuff.
Fine, I would love to have that experience. Talk with Elvis about the paranormal.
Yeah, so I mean, he would often invite Larry Geller, his hairstylist,
of course,
and school advisor, and of course his cousin Billy Smith that I mentioned. They would have late night spiritual sessions at Graceland where they would gather upstairs and they would discuss personal spiritual experiences, UFOs, and paranormal beliefs. And these gatherings would conclude with a protection chant they would say Christ love, Christ life, Christ peace in those sessions with that. Geller described these sessions as deeply meaningful explorations of life's purposes, meditation, and religious philosophies. They often included reading spiritual text and meditating together, practices that Elvis incorporated into his daily routine. His spiritual quest inspired the creation of Graceland's meditation garden. So he actually went on like kind of a spirit quest at one point in his life where he like left and went to like a self-realization fellowship at like Shrine in California. And then he wanted to make his own meditation garden kind of reflect that, where he felt that sense of peace and connection.
That's so cool.
And for Elvis, this garden became a sanctuary for reflection and connection to the divine. So he did spend a lot of time in that garden meditating. But he is not the only one that has had paranormal experiences. Even his family has. So as I mentioned, he passed in 1977. But Priscilla, his wife, if you don't know, his first and only wife, he never remarried after
I'm
they
agree
split.
with this. I think he
And,
loved her so much.
and she never changed her name. She's still Priscilla
Yeah, she
Presley.
loved
She
him
never
too.
dropped it. They were married 1967 to 1973. Um, and she has often spoken about feeling his presence at Graceland, at the home they once shared. So she and Lisa Marie, their daughter, lived there together before it became what it is today. Her experiences are not frightening but comforting, according to her. They're filled with peace and nostalgia. Uh, so she says she, like I said, senses his presence at Graceland. So she has described the peace she feels, saying, it's not scary, it's beautiful. She believes Elvis's spirit remains in the house, bringing a sense of guidance and reassurance. An example of this is in a 2018 interview, which was connected to an album she was releasing way after his death. Like, occasionally they'll still release some of his albums.
Right.
I think this might have been like one of his hits. I can't really remember which album it was. But Priscilla was feeling kind of uncertain. Like, am I doing this right? Is this what Elvis would want? And she
Yeah.
said, my mind goes, am I doing this right? But then it says, yes, I am. I know I am. It's as if Elvis is guiding me. I'm being guided by the
Wow.
energy. So she just kind of feels him guiding her when it comes to things like that.
Cool.
Also, just vivid senses at Graceland. She has recounted surreal moments, kind of like those visions Elvis was talking about in his early childhood age. Um, she says at Graceland, she feels as though she can see Elvis walking down the stairs, hear laughter, and even hear music from the music room. When I go to Graceland, my gosh, I can walk in that door and see him walking down the stairs. I can hear laughter. I can hear the music playing in the music room. It's very surreal. So she has like intense, I guess,
Yeah.
memories. I don't know. They're like slightly more than memories, right?
Huh.
Lisa Marie also says this thing with like dreams and visitations. There's intense like visions and dreams. Lisa Marie says she had a vivid dream of Elvis, which she believed. She's had multiple of these. She believes they're visitations rather than dreams. These experiences brought her comfort and a sense of connection to her father. So
That's really
it's
beautiful.
interesting. His family also has these things going on.
Like
that he had.
he's like leaving those little reassurances that he's still there, in a sense.
It seems. But even outside of the family, people have experienced Elvis's ghost.
Wow.
Let's talk about.
Now it's like, please be me, just please. Like if we go there, that's gonna be her expectation.
I'll settle for the ghost, but I want to really be able to time travel and see Elvis. Damn it! I want to go to one of his
Yeah.
concerts. I don't even care if it's like early Elvis,
Maybe-
late Elvis. I don't care.
Maybe you can astral project.
That's where I would go.
Oh, that would be amazing. I'll meet you there.
Yeah.
Let's,
So
let's make that our 2025 goal. See if we can do it. If we can astral project and we'll meet at
Graceland.
the show and see, and let's compare and see if we were at the same place.
Okay.
That would be so cool.
I'm down to
Let's do it.
down. Let's do it.
Okay.
All
We gotta learn
right.
how to
So
do it.
what?
We have to learn how to do it. I don't know.
Well, yeah, that's the whole hard part. Well, let's talk about Graceland and maybe its potential haunting.
Do it.
So Elvis purchased Graceland in 1957. The mansion was built in 1939 by Dr. Thomas Moore and his wife Ruth, and it was named after Ruth's aunt Grace, hence Graceland.
Oh, I never knew that.
Yeah, so Elvis purchased the property valued at $100,000.
Holy
A
cow.
$1,000 deposit on Graceland.
Wow, don't you wish money still had that same value today? Insane.
It's nuts. It's nuts. But yeah, that's what he purchased Graceland for. Anyway, let's talk about the mansion. This is like the main building at Graceland. So there are apparitions of Elvis reported. So staff and visitors frequently report seeing a figure resembling Elvis near the grand staircase. That's also where Priscilla said she can envision him walking down the staircase. They also see him in the upstairs hallways and occasionally in the jungle room, which sounds really
Oh,
These glimpses often feature a man in iconic Elvis attire disappearing as quickly as they appear. So it's just a glimpse. And personal accounts, visitors describe these encounters as deeply emotional, often bringing a sense of comfort rather than fear. So it sounds like
That's good.
good presence.
Yeah.
There's also phantom piano music. So late at
What?
night, faint piano music is reported,
Oh.
um, emanating from the music room. Also, what Priscilla mentioned, hearing music from the music room. Witnesses claim the melodies are similar to songs Elvis played during his life. Paranormal investigators suggest this could be residual energy, a phenomenon where events from a person's life replay over and over again.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
these were some of his happy moments in Graceland, just kind of replaying. There's also disembodied voices. Staff members, including Nancy Rooks, have reported, I think she was like a cook, like when he was alive. I think she worked in the kitchen. Have reported indistinct murmurs and even hearing Elvis's voice in areas such as the upstairs hallway and trophy room.
Can I get a jelly donut?
Which became there. Right? The sounds are often soft and conversational, as if someone is unseen nearby, like chatting. And also just general unexplained noises. So
I mean, I've got goosebumps. Like, oh.
Yeah. So you might hear footsteps. Those are pretty frequently heard on the grand staircase. There's something up with that staircase, right? Jeez.
Yeah, right?
We're or the upstairs where no one is present. So don't know who's making those if there's nobody upstairs. And other phenomenon, including unexplained creaking and doors slamming shut without cause.
Oh.
Witness statements, multiple staff members have corroborated these events, with some avoiding late shifts due to the eerie atmosphere. So, seems like it could be.
Now, you might get to this, but is he buried there on the property? Do we know?
I don't know where he's buried. I guess I can follow up with that.
I'll Google it while you tell the story.
Okay. There's also the trophy room. So this is known to have cold spots and eerie sensations. Sudden drops in temperature are common in the trophy room, even during warm weather. Visitors and staff often describe a chilling sensation or being watched. Paranormal enthusiasts attribute this to the residual energy from Elvis, or some even say it might be an intelligent haunting, more so interacting with you. Other unexplained activity, doors occasionally slam shut, as I said, without visible cause. Items like trophies and memorabilia are rumored to shift slightly, although no one has directly observed these movements, so things seem a little bit out of place up there in the trophy room. And then you also have the upstairs private area, and this is where you hear disembodied footsteps.
Oh.
So the footsteps are often heard in the upstairs quarters, which are restricted to the public and rarely accessed, so it's kind of curious to hear footsteps coming from that area when nobody's supposed to be up there.
Yeah, right? Can you imagine, like, you're, like, there working, and you're like...
Yeah. Workers describe these footsteps as distinct and consistent, as though someone is pacing. So it's not just like a one-off creak, it's like pacing kind of footsteps. Billy Smith, Elvis's cousin, also had an encounter. So Billy claimed he heard Elvis call his name from upstairs multiple times after his death, which I think is so scary. Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, I just think that's creepy. Like, a disembodied voice calling your specific name. Ugh. This unnerving experience eventually led to him leaving Graceland. So he just left. He got so creeped out by that.
So here's an interesting, just like circling back, which this is really spooky, Adele. We were talking about where Elvis was buried.
Yeah.
So get this. So he was buried by his mom in Memphis. But on your birthday, on August 18th, 1977, 2 days after his death, okay, he was buried. He was laid to rest by his mom, Gladys, in the Memphis Forest Hill Cemetery. Someone said he was actually buried on your birthday. How weird is that?
Yeah.
And so some asshole made an attempt to steal his 900-pound steel-lined copper-plated coffin and hold his remains for ransom. 3 men were arrested, and they never followed through with their scheme. But after that happened, they moved his body as well as Gladys's to Graceland.
Okay, so they are in Graceland.
And this is according to people.com. So there you go. But I just thought that was so weird. Like you're such like you have been a fan since you were a baby, and it's like he was buried on August 18th. Like
Yeah,
weird.
it's pretty weird. I mean, it would have been
Ugh.
weirder if it was like on the correct year, but it was like 10
Yeah,
years.
but it was 77, and you
Yeah.
were born in 87, so it was a decade later that this little king of rock.
What we're saying is, I am Elvis and I'm
You're,
reincarnated.
you're Elvis reincarnated. Oh my god. You heard it here first.
Oh
Count
God.
one out for us.
Uh,
Oh, that's crazy.
but yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's funny. There's still so much paranormal activity without even it didn't even come up like with his burial place. We don't even need that. There's
Well,
just all
they
sorts of
did
shit.
mention the meditation garden, so I wonder if it's around there, which would be nice since that was one of his favorite places.
Yeah, he really enjoyed his meditation garden.
Yeah.
I bet it's beautiful. I do want to go see
Yeah.
Graceland.
I do.
But yeah, so Billy got horrified by those disembodied, like him calling his
Yeah.
name. Can you
I
just
can't
Elvis up there be like
imagine.
Billa,
Can
Billa Smith?
you and poor Billy.
Hey, Billy.
Like, oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Billy described the voice as clear and unmistakable,
I mean, and
reinforcing
he
his
would
belief
know,
that
right?
Elvis' spirit. Yeah, he full on believes Elvis remains in the mansion. Like Billy thinks it is haunted by Elvis.
Wow, I have just goosebumps from this.
Um,
I loved it.
Even those famous gates at Graceland, they're beautiful. They have like the music notes, and he took a lot of photos in his Cadillac. Actually, the plate on my wall, the same one that Roseanne had, of Elvis in the pink Cadillac outside the gates. Like, it's a beautiful gate, but he's known to like hang out around the gates too.
Don't you think it'd be so cool if you could see him like that episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark, and he like his little pink Cadillac like goes through the gates?
That'd be pretty cool. And Gladys is like,
Gladys is like, come on, or like Gladys is with him and Lisa Marie.
yeah.
Vernon.
What was it? I don't know if I included it in here, but I mean, Elvis was devastated when his mom passed. He said that that was the love of his life, his mommy. Like, I know he loved Priscilla, I do think, but I don't think he loved anybody more than Gladys.
Listen, I feel like that about one Sandy Gillis.
Well, yeah. Like, loved his mommy. And it was a void that he was never able to fill after she passed. And she passed suddenly and young. She was only like, I think, in her 40s or 50s.
And I don't know. I mean, I feel like the movie does a good description, but the Elvis movie. But it seems like she kind of kept him on the up and up too. Like, I think she protected him from people like the Colonel and people that didn't necessarily have his best interest at heart. I feel like she was like, "Don't mess with my kid." Like, seemed to be like that mama, you know.
Yeah.
I think he
It
became-
wrecked him
He
when
became really vulnerable without her. It was really sad.
well, kind of like our dad, I don't think he ever got over her death. I think it forever changed him. There was forever a void in Elvis once she was gone. But anyway, we'll get back to the paranormal stuff. So, yes, the gates. Tourists have reported seeing Elvis near the gates, appearing as a full-bodied apparition in his signature attire.
Yeah.
These sightings are brief, with the figure disappearing as visitors approach. Witnesses often describe an overwhelming sense of sadness or nostalgia during these encounters, so it does elicit some sort of an extreme emotion. And the meditation garden seems to be full of spiritual energy, which, hey, maybe it was just from him meditating there before his passing. Who knows? I'm sure it was charged with energy either way. But many visitors feel a powerful spiritual presence while reflecting by Elvis's grave. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I guess
There it is. There it is.
some report of a sense of calm or connection to Elvis. But how could you not feel that at Graceland anyway? You know? But during the candlelight vigils, attendees have described sensations like a hand on their shoulder or a comforting presence they believe to be Elvis. So apparently if you do, they do a lot of vigils and celebrations. Like, he's going to definitely be there if he's a ghost. He's going to be there for his 90th birthday.
Imagine what we should make plans to go for his 100th.
Oh, yeah, we should. Yeah, so, I mean, we could just talk about Elvis all day. But let me get back to, where was I? The gardens. Oh, yeah, his vigils. So candlelit vigils unexplained flickering lights and whispers have been reporting during memorial events. So I'm sure for his birthday this week, it's going to be super active. So I don't know. If you catch any suspicious pictures, please tag us. Participants often
Please.
sense Elvis's presence in these moments of silence because they're going to have, like, you know, a lot of his music playing and just like a really fun atmosphere.
Can
And I
you
think
imagine?
he loved celebrating his birthday when he was alive at Graceland.
He strikes me as,
Such a ham.
yeah, he would have loved it.
So yeah, I mean, I don't think it's surprising that he would haunt his former home, but he also haunts some of the other places that were his haunts, if you will. He's also been spotted in Las Vegas at the Las Vegas Hilton, where he used to perform and have his residency. Today it's the Westgate Las Vegas Resort, but even though it's renamed, you can still see his apparition. So the Las Vegas Hilton was where Elvis performed 636 sold-out shows during his legendary residency at this hotel. After his death, staff and visitors have reported paranormal activity, including sightings of his ghost in the theater and near the freight elevator he used. Many claim to feel his presence in the penthouse suite where he stayed. So let's get into those. So the theater, the International Showroom, there were ghostly apparitions of Elvis reported. So numerous sightings of a figure resembling Elvis in his iconic white rhinestone jumpsuit have been reported near the stage where he performed. Witnesses describe the apparition as fleeting but strikingly vivid. So it's always like kind of, I guess, out or kind of you barely see it.
Yeah, it's like, was
that Elvis? Also, phantom applause and music in this location.
That's cool.
Staff and visitors have reported hearing faint applause of the sound of Elvis's music echoing in the empty theater. So it's almost like this epic concert, it's almost trapped there. And these sounds are typically heard late at night when the theater is quiet.
Of course.
And that freight elevator, so there are cold spots reported on this freight elevator. The freight elevator Elvis used to discreetly travel between the theater and a suite, so it's kind of a private space for him. Has become a focal point for the paranormal activity. Staff have reported sudden cold spots and an eerie sensation of being watched while in the elevator, so it's almost like you're not alone.
I wonder if Zach's been there, since he has his haunted museum.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure he would love to do an investigation there.
Yeah.
I just want to go. I don't care if we're investigating or not. I just want to be in Graceland.
Yeah.
Although this isn't Graceland. Anyway. There's also shadowy figures of him around this area of the freight elevator. Several individuals have claimed to see shadowy figures in and around the elevator shaft, believing to be tied to Elvis's energy. They're not saying it's necessarily Elvis, but they attribute it to Elvis, I guess. And then, of course, his penthouse, where he stayed. The penthouse suite where Elvis stayed during his residencies is rumored to have a strong sense of his presence. Guests and staff have reported hearing faint humming or singing that they associate with Elvis in that location. Also, items in the suite are occasionally found moved around or out of place without explanation, adding to the belief that Elvis's spirit lingers there. So they think he's still in the penthouse. They don't think he ever left the building.
Elvis never left the building.
And the general hotel area, even, they say is haunted. So hotel employees have described hearing Elvis's voice or the sound of his laughter in the hallways.
Oh, that would be cool.
Some have felt an overwhelming sense of nostalgia or sadness in the area he frequented. Visitors report they've captured orbs or unexplained light anomalies in photographs at that area. So there seems to be some odd stuff going on. Even Wayne Newton had an experience, and he was a close friend of Elvis.
Stop. What did Wayne experience? Please tell us.
So Wayne reported a profound experience involving Elvis's spirit during a performance at the Las Vegas Hilton. the encounter. So, a few months after Elvis's passing in August 1977, Newton was invited to perform at the Las Vegas Hilton, the same venue, right, where Elvis had held his legendary residency. As a tribute to his late friend, Newton incorporated an Elvis medley into his show. During one of these performances, all of the lights in the theater unexpectedly went out, except for a single spotlight illuminating Newton. So everything went out except for the spotlight on Wayne Newton. And he saw an apparition looking toward, like, from the balcony. So looking toward the balcony, which was supposed to be a closed balcony, right? So nobody's supposed to be in this balcony. It's empty.
Stop.
This happens. The lights go off. It's just a spotlight on Wayne. And he sees Elvis's figure backlit and smiling down at him from the balcony.
Goosebumps. I'm getting goosebumps like crazy on this episode.
Yeah, so Newton interpreted this vision as a message from Elvis, indicating that he was at peace and approved of the
Can you
truth.
imagine, like, you're trying to perform in front of an audience like that's happening to you?
It's like unreal. He described the experience as one of the greatest memories of his life. So it really stuck with him. Like,
Wow.
that's so cool, right? There's two more locations he supposedly haunts. And another one is the Knickerbocker Hotel. So this was when he was out in LA doing all of those movies. He
Okay.
stayed at the Knickerbocker. Marilyn Monroe also stayed here. Like, a lot of famous people. People say even she haunts this hotel. So this hotel is very haunted. I think like yeah, like this hotel's hella haunted and had a lot of A-listers stay here at this time. So it was once a glamorous hotspot to Hollywood's elites, and it's rumored to be, like I said, hella haunted by several spirits, including Elvis. It held a significance to Elvis early in his career as a temporary residence where he worked on his movies in Hollywood. Room 1016 is the one. So unexplained cold spots, guests staying in room 1016 where Elvis reportedly stayed during his early career have reported sudden chilling cold spots even when the room's temperature controls were normal. Eerie sensations as well. Visitors and staff have described feeling an unease or being watched in and around the room, which they attribute to Elvis, I guess, since he's the one that stayed there. Also, the general hotel areas. In common areas of the hotel, faint music believed to be Elvis's songs has reportedly been heard without any source. Witnesses also claim to hear soft humming or the strumming of a guitar reminiscent of Elvis's private practices. And a few guests have reported seeing fleeting reflections of a man resembling Elvis in mirrors or windows throughout the hotel, particularly near the room he used to stay in.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe he could be at the Knickerbocker.
He's all over the place. I feel like he's real busy in the afterlife, just like he was in life.
Yeah, like he never takes a break. Jeez.
Elvis.
And then lastly, I think I could see this being very significant to him. It's the RCA recording studio in Nashville, Tennessee. So RCA Studio B in Nashville was a pivotal location for his career. It's known as the home of 1,000 hits. The studio was where Elvis recorded many of his most iconic songs, including Are You Lonesome Tonight, It's Now or Never, A Fool Such As I, and I'm sure tons more. So between 1957 and 1971, Elvis recorded over 200 songs at the studio.
Wow.
So, I mean, this studio is hell of important to his career and his music. So the ghostly presence, visitors, and current employees have reported feeling a lingering presence in the studio believed to be tied to Elvis. Many describe a sense of being watched, particularly in the areas where Elvis spent most of his time. There's also phantom music. On several occasions, faint sounds of music similar to songs Elvis recorded have been heard when the studio was empty. So who the hell's playing that? Witnesses describe these occurrences as hauntingly clear and impossible to trace to any source. So they can't explain it. There's also cold spots, sudden temperature drops have been reported in the recording booth near Elvis's favorite microphone, even when the studio's climate controls were functioning normally, so they can't explain it. And of course, apparitions. A few visitors claim to have seen shadowy figures resembling Elvis in the control room or near the piano he frequently played. Equipment malfunctions. Studio technicians have experienced unexplained equipment failure, such as microphones cutting out and audio distortion, particularly when Elvis's name is mentioned. Isn't that wild? So
Oh,
it's like he's trying to communicate.
that's
And that's
crazy.
it as far as the paranormal activity.
That's
So
quite a
Elvis was
lot.
more obviously than just a man. He might very much still be here. Um, I'll just close with this. He was a force that transcended music, time, and even the physical world, maybe today. From his groundbreaking performances to his profound spiritual journey and enduring presence felt by those who loved him. The King's story continues to captivate, whether through his music, the flicker of lights at Graceland, or the whisper of a voice in the hall of his favorite places. Elvis reminds us that the legend never truly leaves. They linger, inspiring and mystifying us forever. So that's Elvis.
Wow, who knew? I had no idea.
Yeah,
This is
Hunka Hunka Haunted.
awesome. The Hunka Hunka Haunted. So one of my favorites, Dolly Parton, she did an interview one time and she said that Elvis really wanted to sing I'll Always Love You. And the Colonel tried to screw Dolly, like not pay her at all for it. And Elvis was so embarrassed and felt so bad that he called and apologized to her and never recorded it because that's not right. You know, like obviously she's an artist and she needs to get paid. But she said she always regretted, she always wanted to hear him sing that song. She's like, I just always would just like what an honor. You know, just like what a true honor that was. So
Yeah. I mean,
I think
also,
they really liked him a lot.
I think yeah, and I personally just feel like it's because he was dirt poor. I mean, I don't think you can get that kind of character building only comes from people who've truly struggled and gone without. And I think that
Yeah.
never left him, no matter how successful he
I don't think
got.
so either. I've always heard really great stories. And just also, a side note, you know, especially since, you know, we've got MLK Day coming up in January, Black History Month in February. He did a whole lot for, he was an activist as well as far as human rights and equality. Like, he truly was ahead of his time when it came to that.
Yeah, he's just fascinating. Very
Definitely.
fascinating guy.
Yeah, that was awesome, Adele.
Well, thank you. I mean, of course, because it's Elvis.
Yeah, I mean, of course.
Elvis is absolutely the king. So
Yes.
I don't know. I'm more excited to go to Graceland. I just wanted to go there anyway. I won't be one of those weird people. I remember back in the
No.
90s, like watching
I know
some
what
sort
you're
of
gonna
special
say.
on the toenail.
Yep,
Yeah,
I
like I'm
was
not
gonna
gonna
bring
be
it
a
up.
weirdo looking for like scraps of
Yes,
shit.
this woman literally feels like she found Elvis's toenail clipping.
She took it from
And
under a
she took
rug.
it. And it's like in this little jewelry box case. Like she's so proud of it. And I was like, oh my.
Like I love Elvis. I would love to see his ghost. I don't want his
I
toenail clippings.
know, it's like it's fine. You can just leave that right where it is. But yeah, she was so excited. I remember when I think about Elvis, I can't help but to think about that story. It always
Yeah.
burned into my memory.
Oh man. But yeah, I mean, there are so many awesome documentaries on Elvis. I highly recommend one. I just watched one on Netflix, and just hearing Priscilla talk about him was really fun. She was talking about his 68 special, and I guess at the time, whenever they got together, it was after his mom had died, so he was kind of a shattered person. And she said when he took this stage and came back and just blew everybody out of the water, she was like, "Who the hell did I marry? I had no idea I was married to this guy." Was backstage completely blown away by him,
Isn't
on top
that
of
crazy?
everybody watching it. And like, that was the hugest comeback ever.
Wow. Well, she's such a cool person too. I always enjoy interviews that she gives
Yeah.
about that.
She's really funny about the words and the way she talks about him to respect his memory and make sure
She
people
really
aren't going to
is.
take it out of context or take it away if that's harmful to his,
She does a great
memory.
job. She's something
So,
special too.
yeah, I mean,
And you just think about the
yeah,
loss that she's had, like, you know, with Elvis and then like her
and
daughter
Lisa Marie.
too. Like that's a lot. And his grandson.
Yeah.
So that's a lot. She's had a very traumatic life.
Yeah, and she still maintains the Presley,
She
uh,
really does.
I guess,
And
legacy so well.
she really, really does.
Listen to some Elvis and maybe catch a glimpse of him at his 90th birthday.
No kidding. I
They're
mean, I'm sure
celebrating.
he'll be making an appearance.
Yeah.
For
So
sure.
let's see what the heck we're covering next time.
Oh goodness. Let's see. The topic should be getting shorter.
Yeah, we're down to the
Last
last
two.
piece of the wheel.
Yeah, we're last two of the wheel.
All right. So we won't spin next time because I'll know what I have. It's the one that you
That's
don't know.
very true. That's true.
All
We'll
right.
see if
So
we
let's see.
remember though.
Right. So you're either gonna cover lore or cult, and both of
Okay.
those are always great. So it's gonna be
Always.
good no matter what. But let's see which one. Ooh.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
All right, I've got a lore. Lores are always so fun.
And I'll take cult for the next
Sounds
one.
good.
And
That
then we'll
sounds
restart the board.
we'll yeah, load her up. Well, I hope that you enjoyed your new year and that everything's going well as we slide right on into 2025. And that was just a great story. Elvis is on my Spotify, so I'll think about the story as he comes up on my mix. A lot of mixes that I have.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's Elvis. I don't know what to say if you don't love him after that. You just
That's
have a
exactly right.
you just have a hard heart.
That's exactly who doesn't love Elvis, right? Like, come on now. Oh, well, as we say here on our podcast, stay safe out there, friends.
Stay curious.
Never trust the
The
living.
fucking living.
Pretty bad.
Hate the living.
All right, you guys, have a great week.
Later, taters.